Hi, Captain Mike here with you again. Today we're going to do what I hope is a short video on some things to do and not to do with a couple of 110 volt kilns that I have. One of them is an Olympic clamshell type 110 volt glass kiln, only goes to 1700 degrees, and the other will be a small Paragon old school kiln that I use for a lot of testing. And I'll share with you some mistakes and some things that I've learned over the period of the last month or two while using these kilns. And in this video I'll be explaining about these two bowls here, and it has to do with the Olympic kiln. You'll notice that this one here has a dome shape to it, which is nice if you have a little metal container leggy thing to sit it in. But it wasn't what I was after. I was after this right here with a flat bottom. And the first two times I fired this, it wouldn't go flat. The first time I fired this one, it wouldn't go flat. Then I decided that it had to do with kiln settings. And by that I mean the Olympic kiln has side firing elements and top firing elements, but you can't have them both at the same time. So I changed from side to top and got my flat bottom. So with that said, we're going to go over to these kilns, and I'm going to kind of explain to you what I found out. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you. So let's go over there and have a look at it, okay? Okay. This is my little 110 volt glass kiln. It only heats up to about 1700 degrees. It is an Olympic, and I bought it for the clamshell option, where you could shut the top, and down here at the bottom you see where you can open it up so that you could get to things right on the bottom. I've never used it, although that's what I bought it for. But I use this kiln almost daily. And as you can see, it has a top element and it has side elements on all four sides. Now, I didn't know until recently that all the elements didn't come on. Why did I not know? Because I didn't read the instructions. But on the side here, you can't see it really good to tell you the truth, but it has a flip switch that says lid and one that says body. So you get the choice of one or the two. So I've been making these bowls that I showed you in the first part of the clip using this mold right here. See if I can pick this up without disturbing it, because I'm fixing to fire it. Just this little mold that comes from Slumpies. And I cut me a round piece of glass and I place it on the mold, and I fired it. And for some reason I had the switch flipped to body. I've been doing that for quite a while, and I couldn't get the results I wanted. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Don't get dizzy while we walk around here with this little GoPro. This one here is a pretty little dish. Now this is fusible glass with red frit on it, and as you can see, it wouldn't go all the way to the bottom of that mold. It just kind of draped down, and that was it. I fired this thing twice, and so I said, okay, let's just see what's going on. So I got a piece of quarter-inch float glass and scattered a little float glass compatible frit on it and fired it. And the first time I fired it, it did the same thing as this one. It just beveled out, kind of rounded. Neat if you've got a little wire holder that'll keep it steady, but I don't have those. So I got scratching my head, and I looked over there and I said, wow, let's try the lid only. So I stuck this one back in, fired it just the lid. Lo and behold, it flattened out. So those of you that have one of these kilns or think about buying one of these kilns, just remember, you can't fire all of it at one time. As far as I know, you're going to get the lid or you're going to get the body, and they definitely do different things. So it's a great glass kiln. Like I said, it'll only fire up to 1700 degrees. You can't do ceramics in it, not really, but it's a neat little kiln. And of course it comes with an electronic controller, and I don't know what I'd do without those. I have one kiln that has cone, and I fire it occasionally because it's my baby and I've had it forever. But that is the story on this kiln. Great kiln, just know what you got to fire, how you want to do it. Now the next one is probably one of my favorite kilns, and it's this old Paragon right here. And I got this from a lady who used to do doll ceramics. Now this puppy here will fire up to, they say 2,000 degrees, but trust me when I tell you it'll go to almost 24. And you don't want to do that. It had the original elements in it right here when I bought it. And my shop assistant, Igor, was tasked with doing a simple firing on a test piece. And so I went to lunch where I couldn't watch Igor, and he must have got into the medical alcohol or something. I don't know what he did, but when I come back, Igor was in a recliner slump, passed out sort of, and I said, well, let me check the kiln. And he had not turned it off. More about that in a minute. And of course, it had gotten to 2,300 degrees, and all the little elements in it started, they were old and they busted and they cracked. So I replaced them, fine, good to go, not a problem. The next time I decided I had to take my lovely wife to lunch, and I said, Igor, fire this piece and we're gonna raku it. So when it comes out of the kiln, you know what to do here. Yes, master. And I left. Bad on my part. But anyway, again, that's when it went almost to 2,400 degrees, and it melted everything that was in here. You can see the mess, and I cleaned it up, and that's the repair. They did repair. Now, why am I telling all of this to you about a crummy little old kiln? Tell you why. You can sometimes pick these up. I picked this one up for 50 bucks. Not every day, but you can get them. It's 110 volts. When I got this kiln, it didn't even have this real little switch here. You simply plugged it in the wall, it came on, you unplugged it, it went off. It didn't have anything else. At one time, I'm sure somebody must have had some way to tell what the temperature was. It comes with this little peephole, as you can see right here. So I put this really swell little probe in it, and I packed it around here with fire-proof fiber stuff, and the probe sticks in and it works great. Now, you'll burn these probes up pretty easy. See, part of this has already fell off. So they don't cost very much on eBay. Now, it still will work like that because this part doesn't count for anything. It's just a shield. And so anyway, I put the switch on it so I could turn it on and off. And I hooked the thermocoupling to it so I could use this. This is also bought, I think, on Amazon or eBay. The whole darn thing was less than 20 bucks for one of these, and I mean for one of the machines here, or the digital reader and the probe. Not much. Makes it worthwhile. So now all I have to do is flip it on and watch it and check it every once in a while, and when I get to the desired temperature, then cut it off. I am going to get a little inexpensive computerized controller. You can buy those for about 200 bucks on eBay that will not hold a program, but you can program it once. So that would be the route to go. But this is my little baby. It's Paragon. They still make these. They make them in a fancier model now. You probably comes with a pyrometer or some kind of maybe an infinite switch. I don't know. Get online, check Paragon. But this particular design is neat. I do all my testing in it, and if you can get it in that chamber, you can fire it, and it will fire at least to 2,000 degrees without damage. So anyway, that's pretty much it on the two little kilns. They're both 110 volt. That makes it very easy to plug them in your shop. Now, the only tip, I have a tip for you today. It's not the only tip that I have, but it's the only tip I'm going to give you today. I know you guys have these. These are breaker pliers for breaking glass. when I break all these pieces here, I break them round, and of course break straight, does the same thing. But you see that little plastic part right there, that little white plastic part, there's two of them, supposed to be one on each side, and I keep losing them and they wear out. So I decided that I had to come up with a better idea. So you see that little kind of off-white, yellowish looking piece of foam stuck on there? That's how I fixed it. You can use these things, cut it to whatever size you want. This is double-sided. Stick it on there on that side and trim it to suit you. You could also use these little felt things if you want and trim them. That'll save you a little money, and if you use the pliers much, you're going to wear out and or lose that plastic piece. So that's the tip for today, and that's all I've really got to say about these two kilns. If something else comes up, I'll be more than glad to make another video. If you have any questions, you let me know, and I will answer them. And if you have a suggestion for another video, just mention that in the comments section on any of my videos, and because I read them all and I try to respond to them all, and we'll get around to that. So okay, that's my video on these two kilns today, and I'm Captain Mike, and I am out of here.